Hey guys, it's Becky with Design Bundles, and I am here today to introduce you to heat transfer vinyl for beginners. So, of course, as a beginner, I know that heat transfer vinyl can be intimidating, or maybe it's a little bit more expensive than the materials you would normally practice with, but we're here to hold your hand along the way, so don't fret about breaking out that Cricut. We are going to go through grabbing a free design. Okay, free is always good. And then we're going to bring it into Cricut Design Space, show you how to set it up, what materials to select, and then of course we are going to cut, weed, and apply. So I'm really glad that you joined us today. Let's go ahead and jump on in and tackle this heat transfer vinyl.
All right, so here I am at designbundles.net, of course, right? And I always urge beginners to check out their free designs because they are really awesome. And this is one that I've found. I've used it a couple times now, but I just feel like it's just one of those designs that speaks to my soul. Apparently I have an attitude. I put it on things for myself. I put it on things for my daughter. I give it for gifts. Like, I have used this design, I cannot tell you how many times. But for you guys, let's walk through how you're going to download this free design, pull it into Cricut Design Space, and then we're going to put it on our project. Are you ready? All right. So basically, you go to free designs right up here, and you can scroll through all the options that they have. Once you find the design that speaks to you and you're ready to download it, watch how easy this is. Are you ready? You just hit download free now, and it downloads. Now, of course, you do have to check out the latest bundle because they're always amazing. So you can click view bundle, or you can hit return to the site, and just know that you need to check it out later because there's things in there that you don't want to miss. Now that you have it downloaded, you can, I'm on a PC, you can just click the file to open. And just remember that I do have to extract this. Okay, so I'll hit extract all, and I'm going to allow it to extract to my downloads folder because that's just kind of a catch-all place for me for downloaded items. Once it's downloaded, I can simply click over to my downloads folder, and there it is. I have my first zipped folder and now my unzipped folder. And if you double click, you'll see that all the file types that I need are there. Now, I am in particular looking for the SVG file, so that's good, and it's there, and I love it. So let's go ahead and jump on to Cricut Design Space and import this bad boy so that we can get to cutting. Okay, so here we are in Cricut Design Space. I have opened a new canvas. So all I need to do now is go to upload down here in the bottom left, and I can hit upload image, browse, and then I just want to locate that folder that we downloaded and choose my file to bring it in. Now, this is an SVG file, so there's not going to be any modifications to make. I can just click on it and choose insert images. And just like magic, it's going to appear. Now, the first thing that I want to do is size it. Now, I am making yet another shirt for myself because I just, maybe I just need to wear this shirt every day of the week, right? But I know in particular, I wear an adult large unisex shirt. So I do not like for my designs to be larger than 11 inches wide. Now, all I have to do is come up here and choose 11. If you're ever in doubt on how large to make a size for your file, you can put the shirt on and use some masking tape or painter's tape to tape off the area like where you would want your design to be. And then you can take the shirt back off and measure it out. Or if you're putting this on something that's not a shirt, just grab a measuring tape and give it a good measure because there's nothing worse than getting all the way through the cutting process to find out you either wanted it larger or smaller. So here we go. 11 inches wide is good for me. And do you see how all these are broke out? Now I'm just going to show you. If I click over to make it, Cricut Design Space automatically, because they're just super nice like that, they want me to save all the vinyl I can. So they have broken this up into all these tiny little pieces. However, let's go back to Canvas. It's more important for me that my design is set up properly. And I don't think that's something that I can put back together by hand. So I'm going to come down here on the bottom right-hand side and choose attach. Okay, now let's try it again. Let's head over to make it. And now my design is sized just where I need it to be. All right, so remember, I am using heat transfer vinyl and I'm putting this on a t-shirt. So I am going to choose mirror and it will flip my design because remember, we're going to be cutting into the back of the material. This will make more sense once we actually get to the cutting and weeding process. I'm going to go ahead and hit continue, and this is going to connect to my maker. Once it connects, it's up to me to select the type of material. I'm going to choose everyday iron-on. Now for the type of vinyl that I have, I know that I need to adjust it to more, okay, because the vinyl that I have is a little bit thicker than just regular smooth iron-on. But if you're choosing regular smooth iron-on, then you can go ahead and leave it to default, just to let you know. And, don't be afraid to do some test cuts. Obviously, you don't want to cut your full design, but you can go back to your mat and put a small square or a small heart or whatever and cut that first and let that cut in the very top corner and just see how it cuts. So although Cricut doesn't have a native test cut feature, you can create that test cut feature yourself so that it will do a little test cut and before you send it to cut if it's going to work for your design or not. Okay, so here we are. We are ready to cut our heat transfer vinyl. So let's go through the materials that you need. Of course, I have my Cricut Maker, love it. I have my Cricut Easy Press, love it too. Now, I do want to stop real quick and just say I do love my Cricut Easy Press. However, usually for t-shirts, I do want to be on a lower surface. As a matter of fact, I would prefer to almost be on the floor because the Easy Press, along with a household iron, needs a lot of pressure. Usually a standard heat press will take care of that pressure for you, but because we're using an appliance that needs the pressure from us, the lower the surface, the better, so that you can get your upper body weight to really press onto the top of your Easy Press or the top of your home iron. But that's okay. Let's go ahead and go through the rest of our supplies here. We have a cutting mat. This is white smooth heat transfer vinyl. Like I told you earlier, this is a brand that is just a little bit thicker. So I adjusted my cut settings and that's okay. And I have a navy t-shirt, a pair of tweezers, a pair of scissors, and I do have my Teflon sheet that pairs with my Easy Press. So let's go ahead and get started cutting. The first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to unwrap my heat transfer vinyl. And you can see that it is a little large for my sheet. That's okay, because what I can do is just go ahead and trim the excess that I don't need. And then I'll be able to save that and use it for a new project later on down the road. Now, if you have a paper trimmer, you could also just run it over to the paper trimmer real quick. Don't feel like you have to do this by hand if you don't want to. Also, when working with HTV, don't forget that there is a shiny side and a matte side. You definitely want shiny side down onto the mat. What we're going to do is cut into the back side of the HTV and leave the carrier sheet, which is a clear adhesive sheet, intact. Now I'm just going to open my maker and insert the cutting mat. Now remember, I want to check these two guides here and just make sure that I'm all lined up. And I always double check, make sure my vinyl is in place. And then I will hit this up and down arrow. And that allows me to load my cutting mat. With my cutting mat loaded, my Cricut Design starts flashing because remember, we've already set up our settings in there. So I can just hit the Cricut button and it'll start cutting. So once the design is finished cutting, you can click the arrow button again to unload your mat. Now I prefer to peel the vinyl off my mat and set my mat aside. If you prefer, you can actually weed the design on your mat, so that part is completely up to you. And then I like to choose one part of the design to go ahead and test and make sure that my weeding is going to be good. And it is. So I'm going to take care of this and I'll be right back with you guys in just a minute. Once the weeding is done, we can go ahead and discard our little pile of scraps here. And now it's time for the real fun to begin. Now our easy press is heated up. It is at 320 degrees for 15 seconds. Now remember, the heat of your heat transfer vinyl pressing is going to be set by the manufacturer of your heat transfer vinyl. So this one in particular is 320 for 15 seconds, but make sure you check with the brand that you've purchased. Now what I've done is I have folded this shirt. I folded it in half down the middle, and I also folded it right underneath the underarm of the shirt. Now this is going to serve two purposes. This is an important hack to remember. Okay, get it nice and smooth. Go ahead and cover it with your Teflon sheet. Now this isn't to protect your vinyl, obviously, but using your Teflon sheet, make sure that nothing transfers from your press onto your shirt. Okay, go ahead and apply a little bit of pressure, but you don't have to time it. Basically, this is your pre-press for your shirt. It helps to get any moisture out of the fabric, and then it's also going to give you these nice pressing lines so that you can line up your heat transfer vinyl. After that little pre-press is done, you can unfold your shirt. You'll see not only did we get a nice pre-press, but we have these lines here and here. Now, of course, this is not to serve as a center, okay? What I want to do is I have to remember that this is what's going to be right across the chest, and I want my design to be a little bit above that. So I will use the center guide to place my design in the center, but what I'm using this for is just to make sure that I apply it straight. Smooth it down, and the carrier sheet should stick the back of the heat transfer vinyl onto your shirt. Cover it again with your Teflon sheet. Now remember, this part requires the pressure. So I'm going to hit my Cricut button to start my timer, and I really want to apply just about as much pressure as I can to make sure that this adheres to my garment and it lasts for the long haul. Okay, sometimes you can be fooled by pressing the heat transfer vinyl and it looks like everything is going well, but then when you wash it, the vinyl peels off. Now, anytime I use heat transfer vinyl, I will peel off the carrier sheet, smooth my shirt back out, replace my Teflon sheet, and press again. And that just gives me just a little bit more reassurance. And there we have it. That's my design. So I'm very happy with how it turned out. And this will be just another shirt in my arsenal that I can wear and enjoy.
So, what do you think of my shirt? Isn't it awesome? So, like I said, this is one of my favorite designs, and I love, love, love that it was free. So for any beginner, a free design is just more money that you can spend on materials, right? So definitely lots of practicing to be had. And that is probably the most important thing that you can do. So be sure to browse those designs, grab a couple for yourself, and don't be afraid or let heat transfer vinyl get the best of you. So I really appreciate you joining me today. And of course, stay tuned, subscribe to the channel, because we have so many more tutorials planned for you in the future. Thanks for watching.